What's going on, guys? So I know I'm looking a little bit rough. I know you guys have missed my beautiful face. I haven't been doing POV shots in my last couple videos. No real reason, just wanted to try something a little bit different. Today I want to talk about keeping fish, and not just saltwater fish, fish in general, but I'm going to gear it a little bit towards saltwater fish. So you may purchase a fish in the store because you like him, but there are attributes to fish that you need to know. Fish keeping isn't only about knowing that you don't put a foot-long fish in a 40-gallon breeder. There's a lot that goes on with it. If you don't know, for example, you don't put two basslets in a 40-gallon breeder. Even though they're only around 4 or 5 inches long, they will kill each other. They establish territories and they don't allow each other to partake and share in that area of space which they have claimed. So a lot of things come into perspective when it comes to picking out a fish for your system. For example, okay, I have a neon dottyback. If you don't know, a neon dottyback is a basslet, and they can be very, very aggressive. When I first introduced him into this tank, he picked on my sand perch. They did not get along. He chased the sand perch all over the place. But the tides have turned. So, I've noticed lately my sand perch has since doubled in size since I purchased him, and he takes nothing from the neon dottyback. But strangely enough, he doesn't bother the neon dottyback. And that's the funny thing. Even though the neon dottyback bullied the sand perch when it was introduced into the tank, now that the sand perch has established himself and has grown in size, he doesn't pick on the dottyback in return. He actually picks on my sand sifting goby. And the funny thing is, my sand sifting goby never bothered him. So that is another thing that adds some dynamic to picking fish. Yes, they may have certain attributes from the get-go that you just need to know and caution before introducing them into your tank. But another big thing with purchasing a specific fish is knowing its capabilities after it has established itself in your system. I'll give you another example. When I introduced my pygmy angelfish, my cherub pygmy angelfish to my tank, he was alright. Didn't bother anyone, kept to himself, was a little bit shy. I gave him a couple of weeks. Now he bullies everyone. He picks on the clowns, he picks on the chromis, and in return, the clowns attack him when he comes too close, and the chromis does as well. So this is what I mean. Initial appearances, maybe at the store or online where you've read or seen YouTube videos, may give you a decent idea of keeping a fish, but you will never really know what that fish is capable of in your tank. Because remember, you have other fish that other people or whoever kept that particular fish didn't have with it. We have size. That's obviously a big one. Not so much in saltwater tanks, but in freshwater tanks, we have water parameters. Some fish like colder water, some fish like warmer water. Some fish have certain pHs and alkalinities and stuff like that, especially in freshwater, really plays a big part because the fish are so diverse in their habitats and in their ecosystems that those things actually play a drastic factor in keeping them. Saltwater tanks, not so much. Temperature will make a difference, but not so much alkalinity and pH. However, salinity might, because knowing where your fish came from, it might like a lower salinity or a higher salinity, but generally they can be acclimated to any real reasonable salinity level between 0.020 to around 0.025. So we have size, we have water parameters. What else could really impact keeping fish together? We know compatibility plays a great factor in keeping fish. Compatibility is probably gonna be your biggest thing, because maybe you didn't do so much research on keeping a fish and didn't know that, for example, if you keep smaller inverts in with a bigger wrasse, such as maybe a small peppermint shrimp or a small cleaner shrimp, it might become wrasse food. The same way I wouldn't keep a grouper in with some clownfish, because guess what? It's going to be grouper food. So you have to understand the fish, the capabilities of that fish, the attributes of that fish. Is it a predator? Will it go after some of your smaller fish? Is it a cleaner fish and other fish won't mind it so much? So picking a fish for your tank takes a lot of consideration. It's not just go to the fish store, wow, I like this one, and drop it in your tank. Now that's fine if you have a large enough tank for that fish and you don't really have any other inhabitants in there. Yeah, I guess your first fish, other than size, can go like that. But every fish from that point forward needs a lot of consideration. Okay, now luckily, like I said, I have minor aggression, minor bullying, chasing around, but I have had drastic issues keeping smaller clowns in my tank with my larger clown, as well as my pygmy angel. Because, if you don't know, clownfish like to establish themselves, and when you introduce a new, especially smaller clownfish to the system, it has to go through its paces with the larger clown or established clown, and they have to duke it out and decide who is who and who will become what. All right, because if you don't know, clownfish are hermaphrodites and they change their sexes as needed. So that, for example, so now I have a new clownfish. My old clownfish is beating him up to establish dominance, as well as my pygmy cherub angelfish is bullying that clownfish as well, because guess what? Similar body shape and structure. Those play a drastic role as well. If I have a fish with similar body shape and structure to a more territorial, aggressive fish, guess what? It's gonna say, hey, you look like me and this is my area, you need to get out. So introducing new clownfish to my tank is a hassle. I've been through one I had, wouldn't eat. It had nothing really to do with the bullying. It was looking okay, just wouldn't eat. Another one was really savagely bullied at night by the pygmy angel, and during the day by the other clown. So I had to drop it down to my sump. I had a pair of maroons in here as well. Same story. One was fine and paired up with my SA Black. The other one was getting beat up. I just took them both out because I kind of wanted to keep the maroons together. So, listen guys, you spend money on this stuff, you might as well do the research. There's no point in buying a $40 purple firefish without knowing that your 6-line wrasse is probably going to bully it a little bit. Or there's no point in getting a grubfish and knowing that your neon dottyback is going to bully it. So yes, sometimes they work it out, but what if they don't? Okay, what if they don't? Are you the type of person that's willing to throw away money if it doesn't work out? I mean, sometimes you can catch it in time and trade it, but you also got to remember, depending on how big your tank is, you might not even be able to catch that fish after it's introduced to your tank. You may have introduced it into a 50 or 100-gallon tank with lots of rock work, and that fish is gone. It's not gonna come to you to catch it, even though it's being bullied. So you might have to tear apart your entire tank to save one fish that had no business being in your tank in the first place. So this is just a little thing that I wanted to talk about. because I know I battle with it. There's some fish that I see at the store and I'm like, I have to get it. I just have to. But you have to take a second to think and realize that it just wouldn't work out. It just won't work out. Either it's too big or gets too big. Either it's a predator and might eat my other fish, or my inverts, which I don't want because I paid for those as well. Or either it just won't get along with any other fish in my tank, or a specific fish in my tank. Because I already paid for those and they're established. I can go purchase this fish, it bullies my fish to death, and then it doesn't survive acclimation and dies. So now I'm out 2 fish. So that's what I mean. All right, guys. So take into account all these factors when it comes to picking a fish. Be a responsible fish keeper. I know I haven't been in the beginning, and I'm going to admit to that. This isn't a I am the almighty and I'm always right fish keeper experience. I have been plenty of wrong, especially in the saltwater hobby, and I've been doing a lot of things wrong, and I am trying to better myself for the hobby, for the lives of my livestock, and just to educate people that have not yet learned the lessons that I have. So thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you guys for watching the video. Be a responsible fish keeper. My name is Alex. Have a good one.